Hello! In this video, I will share with you some tips and techniques to answer SPM Paper 2, Section C, which is Reading Comprehension and Summary. Before we begin, you will need 2015 SPM Paper 2 because throughout this video, I will use this paper to guide you how to answer Section C. Do not worry if you do not have the paper because you can download it from the link in this video's description. So, are you ready to begin? Before we begin, I have one question for you. When you receive Paper 2, when you receive Section C, what is the first thing you should do? Let's say you receive this paper. Yes, you can download this from the link given in the description. So, look at this paper. What is the first thing that you do? Do you read the text first? Or do you read the instruction first? Or do you do the summary question first? To answer my question earlier, I would like to conduct a short test with you. Are you ready? Okay, breathe in, breathe out. Okay, look at the screen. My instruction is simple. Look at the screen. You must be asking me where to look. Is it here? Or is it here? Or do I have to look here? Or maybe here? Or is it here? Hard to tell, isn't it? Now, let's do it one more time. I want you to look at the screen. So tell me, where did you look? I'm sure this is where you look. Correct? Right? I was right, right? Of course I was right. What is the importance of the test earlier? Well, it's simple. The importance of the test is to know your priority. You must know what to focus and what to do first. Okay. Let's look at the question again. What is the first thing you should do for Section C? Here's the answer. First, don't read the text yet. Okay, I never said that you should not read the text, but the first thing to do is not reading the text. First, you should read the questions. Why? Why do you need to read the questions first? Because if you read the question, you already know what to expect from the text. So you know what you're doing and you are not wasting time. Because let's say, if you read the text first and then you read the question. Let's say you take 5 minutes to read the text. So you take 5 minutes to read the text and then you spend another 2 minutes to read the question. And then you don't even remember what you were reading. You have to read the text again. Aren't you wasting your time there? So always start by reading the questions first. Before we begin, we will look at Section C page layout. Right? You must be familiar with the layout of every section in any exam paper. Alright? So that there will be no surprises for you when you sit for the exam. For reading comprehension text, you will notice that there are numbers on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. The left-hand side, the numbers are 1, 2, 3, and so on. While the one on the right are 5, 10, 15, and so on. What are these numbers? The one on the left, 1, 2, 3, and so on, are number of paragraphs. So number 1 there shows or tells us that it is paragraph 1. Number 2 is paragraph 2, and so on. While numbers on the right hand side tells us number of lines. So they give us 5, 5, 5. So look at, if you count, you see 1, 2, 3, 4. So a few years ago at the zoo where I work, we had a female polar bear called Crystal. That is line number 5. So it's easier for you to find which line. Next is the comprehension questions. Right? The numbers on the left are number of questions. So number of questions for section C begins from 26 until 31. Right? 31 is summary question. So for each question, there may be sub-questions. Right? So for example, like 26 there are 26A and 26B. 27A, 27B. So overall for section C, the marks will be 10 marks. And you do not need to worry because for each question on the right hand side, it will be shown. The question will tell you how many marks are awarded for each question. And normally for each question, only 1 mark is awarded except for question number 30. Alright? Before summary question. Number 30 is normally the KBAT, the HOTS question. This is how the summary question looks like. Right? Number 31, as I said earlier, 31 is summary question. So this is the summary question. This is what the summary question wants. Okay, so different summary question may have different types of questions. Sometimes there are more than one question asked for summary. Like this one, there is only one question, which is steps taken by the team. Right? So these, right, below the question will be the instructions, what you need to do. Normally they are the same thing except for the numbers, which we will see later. And finally, these blank lines, these are the blank space for you to answer summary questions. We're finally here. Right, so step-by-step tips and guide to answer section C. Are you ready? Are you ready, kids? Okay, let's go. Step 1. Step 1 is draw the lines. What lines? Let's see. First, we will look at instructions. Remember earlier, for question number 31, for question summary, I told you that there is one part where the instructions are. Yes, first we will look at the instructions. And what do we need to look at? You will find the phrase use materials from line X to line Y. X and Y here will be numbers. Because different question will ask you to look at different lines. So this is the question. Alright, remember the instruction? Okay, so look for line X to line Y. So yeah, that's the one. So from line 25 to line 45. 7. Once you know from which line until which line, what you need to do next is to draw a straight line before line X, and then another straight line after line Y. So let's look at the text. The instruction tells us that we must use materials from line 25 to line 47, right? So meaning you will need to draw a line before line 25 and after line 47. Let's see. It's line 25. There is line 25. So you must draw a straight line before line 25. Yes, like this. So next, where is the end line? It's line 47, right? So line 45 ends with coming out of their throats. So we'll have to try mouth-to-mouth resuscitation is line 46, which means the first line of paragraph 14 is line 47. So you found line 47, you must draw a straight line after that line. Alright? So this is what you get for drawing the lines. Of course, some of you would prefer to make a box. Well, it's not a problem. You can do this. It's not wrong at all. So why do we need these lines? Why do we draw this box? Because when you are answering exam, there is a tendency for you to be panicking, right? Sometimes you get panic, and when you panic, you tend to forget, right? I have seen many cases where students, when they write their summary, they use materials, they use materials outside this box, which means there are no points actually. So this is to help you focus. Remember what I told you earlier? You need to know where to focus. So these lines and or the box helps you to focus. For step 2, you need to draw boxes. No, not the box that you drew earlier in step 1. Actually, for step 1, you only need to draw straight lines before line X and after line Y. But step 2, you need to draw some boxes. Remember the blank spaces you have for answers? They give you lines, right? Okay, so normally they will give you 2 blank pages and about half blank page. Earlier we saw half the page. So you always need to start on a fresh new page. Of course, even though you may have like about half or more than half blank page under the question, don't start there. Start on a new page. So what you need to do? You need to draw boxes. An ideal box should have 5 columns and 26 rows. Columns adalah menegak. Rows adalah melintang. Okay, so 5 times 26, you will get 130 boxes. If you don't believe me, get a calculator and, well, you can calculate. 5 times 26 equals 130. Okay, so 130 boxes. For each box, you can write only one word. So 130 boxes meaning 130 words. That is the word limit for summary. This is how it should be. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 melintang ada 5 columns. And ke bawah you should have 26 rows. Third step is about the 10 words given. after you have drawn the 130 boxes, what you need to do is you go back to the instruction and find the 10 words given, right? Once you found the 10 words given, you must copy the words into the first 10 boxes. Okay, so where is the 10 words given? Yes, here. This is the 10 words given. And what you need to do is to write the words into the boxes. So to get the clouds breathing again, the writer decided to, so commas and full stops, you do not leave them. You must write them in the boxes, just like how you would write a normal text. Alright? The first 3 steps that you have done earlier is only to help you prepare yourself to answer summary question. Once you have done the 3 steps earlier, you will not answer summary yet. Instead, you will answer the comprehension questions. To answer comprehension questions, you need to pay attention to a few things. Through this guide, I will make you see that answering comprehension questions actually is not that difficult. The first thing that you need to look at is which paragraph is mentioned. For every question, at the start of the question, it will mention from which paragraph, from paragraph 1 or paragraph 3, paragraph 5. The question will mention it. So whichever paragraph is mentioned, that is where the answer is. Next, you need to look at the keywords and the WH questions. Every question has keywords. It's whether you know you understood the word or not. But normally the keywords are not that difficult. And even if you don't understand the keywords, it's not a problem actually. Because the keywords found in the question usually can be found in the text as well. So by knowing the keywords, it will help you to locate the answer, right? To find where the answer is. And to know the answer, you need to know the question. And you will know the question based on what is the WH questions used. For example, who, where, when, why, right? Those questions. And last but not least, you need to be careful with the pronouns used. Sometimes you need to change the pronouns, or else your answer is not accepted. Now let's try to answer this question, shall we? 26A. You can find this question in the task sheet, the questions that you have downloaded earlier. Okay, so remember, to answer comprehension questions, you must always look at the 4 things that I have listed down earlier, which are paragraph, keywords, WH question, and pronouns. So look at the question. From paragraph 1, so it's obvious. The answers can only be found in paragraph 1. So we need to look at paragraph 1. Okay, there, paragraph 1. So what next? We need to look at the keywords. So what is the keyword, or what are the keywords? So why is it difficult to take care of exotic animals? So the keywords here must be exotic animals, right? So let's look at the paragraph. Where can we find exotic animals? As a vet working in a zoo, I have frequently found myself challenged by the exotic animals under my care. There. So once you found the keywords, you need to look at what the question wants. So this question asks, Why is it difficult to take care? Kenapa susah nak jaga? Alright, so the answers can be found before or after the keywords. Alright, you must remember this. Once you found the keywords, the answer is not far. The answer must be before or after the keywords. It may not be in the same sentence, but it's not far. Alright, so to find the answer to this question, the question asks why, kenapa. So kenapa mesti ada sebab. Right? So sebab, reason must be explanation, condition, situation. So for why question, you need to look for adjectives. So let's try and find the answer. Let's look before the keywords first. As a vet working in a zoo, I have frequently found myself challenged by the... Is there any answer to why is it difficult? No. So you need to look at the lines after the keyword. So under my care, more delicate. Delicate is an adjective. And harder to treat. This is also adjective explanation. Lebih sukar untuk dirawat. So yes, this is the answer. Okay, this is the answer. Knowing how to answer is as important as knowing the answer itself. So how do we answer this question? Okay, let's see how to answer. The first one, since the answer is more delicate and harder to treat, right? So we take back whatever is mentioned in the question. Why is it difficult? So it is difficult to take care of exotic animals because they are more delicate and harder to treat. Yes, this answer is accepted. But let's look at the second types of answer. More delicate and harder to treat. You simply put the answer you found from the text. Is this correct? Yes. My dear viewers, actually second answer is better. Why? Because for the first answer, you may write the sentence wrongly, which may change the meaning of your answer. So this question asks why. So you give the answer more delicate and harder to treat. So both answers are acceptable. But you must remember this. English subject and BM subject are not the same. They often vary and differ in many things. And this is one of it. In Bahasa Melayu Pemahaman, if the question asks you, mengapakah menjaga haiwan eksotik itu sukar? Menjaga haiwan eksotik itu sukar kerana ... You have to answer in full sentences. However, for English paper, it is acceptable if you only give the correct answers. Because this is comprehension, pemahaman. So, we want to see whether you faham or not. Right? So, giving the correct answer shows that you faham. So, it's okay to give short answer as long as the answer is correct. Are you beginning to get the hang of it already? Yes or no? Let's try another question. So 26B. So again, you must remember the four things: paragraph, keywords, WH question, and pronouns. Earlier in 26A, there was no pronouns. But here, let's see. Okay, paragraph first. So from paragraph 3. So meaning the answer must be found in paragraph 3. So let's look at the keywords. How did Ray manage to separate the twins from their mother? So the main focus here is the twins, right? Twins. So let's find the word twin in the text. Okay, where are the word twins? Where is the word twins? Or rather, there are two twins there. So meaning to say, there must be, the answer can be anywhere in this paragraph. So let's look at the WH question. How did Ray manage to separate, asingkan, okay, asingkan or pisahkan kembar tu daripada emak dia? Okay, so the answer, remember the answer can be found before or after the keywords. So answer to how. How, bagaimana. So bila bagaimana, the answer must be in the verb form. Mesti dalam bentuk kata kerja, verb. So let's see. Before the first twin, Crystal had given birth to twins. Or let's look at the sentence before that. Finally, the long-awaited call came from Ray. So anything about separating the twins? No. Then let's look at the line after the first twin. Ray had heard the cubs use a tranquilizer to put Crystal to sleep and had been able to catnap the twins. So that is the answer. To use a tranquilizer to put Crystal to sleep. Crystal is the mother. Right? Okay, so how do we answer this? Again, the first way of answering is by writing the full sentence. Ray managed to separate the twins by using tranquilizer to put Crystal to sleep. Or you can simply answer, Ray used tranquilizer to put Crystal to sleep. Or the easiest way to answer is simply writing down the answer. Use tranquilizer to put Crystal to sleep. All three answers are accepted. Once you have finished answering all comprehension questions, now it is finally the time to answer the summary question. So we need to look at what the question wants. So you need to read the summary question. Remember the layout I showed earlier? Okay, so read the summary question and find out what the question wants. Okay, below I will list down possible questions that summary questions normally and typically ask. Let's see. Step by step. So if it's asking you for step-by-step instruction, you need to look for verbs. Is it what the writer did? So what the writer did, also verbs. Is it what the writer felt? Perasaan, apa yang dia rasa. So it must be adjectives. Or is it a list of things or facts? Then it must be nouns. So can you think of any other things a summary question may want you to answer other than this? Of course, there are more. The more questions you attempt, you will see that there are other questions as well. So let's see. This is the question. So where is the question? Yes, write a summary. See, write a summary. So that is the summary question. So this question wants you to find steps taken by the team to make the twin cubs breathe. So this is what the question wants. Next, once you know what the question wants, you need to find the first point. This is the most important part of summary answering question. Okay, summary answering technique. Alright. So you go back to line X. Right? You need to go back to line X and you need to look for keywords in the text that coincides with the question. What does that mean? It means the keywords can be found in the text and in the question. Okay, let's look at an example. Okay, so line X earlier was line 25, right? So, okay, we go here. And what was the question? The question asked for steps taken by the team to make the cubs breathe again. So, keep in mind, steps taken. Steps taken, you need to look for verbs, kata kerja. And those kata kerja, those verbs must answer the question of making the cups breathe again. So let's see. Clearly, we did not have much time. Anything about making the cup breathe again? No. Quick, I said. No. Get a bucket of hot water. Yes. This is the first content point for this question. So, after you find the first content point, what you need to do next is to find all the content points. You need to remember, finding the content points does not mean to write the summary yet. No, do not write the summary yet. You will make mistakes. So first, look for the content points first. You need to search for them all. And while finding, remember the question is yours. The question paper is yours. So contenglah ikut suka. Right? You can doodle on it, do whatever you like. So what you need to do is, you find the content points, you underline them. Okay, you underline them, gariskan dia. Supaya you know, so that you know that is the content points. For every summary text, normally there will be at least around 13 to 15 content points. However, there may be more than 15, but this is the normal amount of content points found in comprehension text. So, when you are looking for the content points, do not include elaboration. How would you know if it's an elaboration? Elaboration is huraian. So if you see the word who and then it's talk about what, where, di mana, when, basically not answering the question. It's just explanation. Then that one you don't underline. Also, you do not include examples. If you want to know examples, it's very easy. Normally you will find, phrases like for example, such as, for instance. And last but not least, as I said earlier, do not write the summary yet until you have found at least 10 or 11 content points. Let's do some exercises. Alright, remember to leave elaboration and examples behind. Alright, so earlier we found the first content point, which is get a bucket of hot water. So let's look for the second content point. So let's look at the next sentence. Aware that the situation was critical, I lowered both cups in halfway. So let's see. The question asks for steps taken to make the cups breathe again. So we are looking for verbs. Aware that the situation was critical. Is there anything related to make the cup breathe again? I don't think so. So the next one is lowered both cups in halfway. So the first part of the sentence, aware that the situation was critical. Is that important? No, that is an elaboration. So you do not need to include that. Okay, nothing happened. And then after that, undaunted, I decided to immerse them completely this time, except for their little snouts. So verb here is decided to immerse them completely this time. Okay, so except for their little snouts. That is huraian, elaboration, isn't it? So we leave it behind. So let's look at the next sentence. I tried to massage their chairs while they were underwater, but realized I could not do both at the same time. So, tried to massage their chairs while they were underwater. Okay, while they were underwater is important because remember they were lowered in the hot water. But then the end of that sentence, but I realized I could not do both at the same time is elaboration. Okay, so any other points here? Pump rhythmically, and also don't dig your fingers in too hard, right? So the question says steps taken by the team. Remember earlier I was talking about pronouns, but I did not elaborate anything on it. But here I will elaborate on it. So here the question says steps taken by the team. But let's look at the text. Who were doing all these verbs? You see, I. It was the writer. So in this, what do we need to do is, if the text says anything, in plural, meaning it is the team, then you change with they. But here, the text uses I. So you cannot say they. So you need to change with the writer or he, right? Oh, there is one more important thing that you need to know. If you see anything like this, right, a dialogue in a summary text, in a comprehension text, this is what we call a direct speech, okay? You need to change it to reported speech. Well, let's see an example. It's easier to show you rather than telling you what is it. Okay, direct speech is dialogue, reported speech is statement, just like the other sentences in the text earlier. So let's say the sentence is, I said remember to palm rhythmically but don't dig your fingers in too hard. Okay, this is a direct speech, a dialogue. So you need to change it to reported speech. How do you change it? The most important thing that you need to change is the pronouns. Okay? And some part of the sentences. Okay? So the most important thing is to change the pronouns. So let's see. Instead of I said, it becomes the writer said. Because I there is the writer. So the writer said to who? If we look at the text earlier, in the earlier line it says Ray. So the writer said to Ray. Okay, the writer said to Ray to palm rhythmically but not to dig his fingers in too hard. Because the writer talked to Ray, so your fingers there, your refers to Ray's fingers. So you need to change direct speech dialogue into reported speech. Some of the text will have dialogue, so you need to be careful and you need to change the dialogues into reported speech. This may look a bit hard, but with practice I'm sure you can master this. This is not that difficult actually. Now, it's finally the time for you to write your summary. However, you must remember, you only start writing your summary after you have at least, I repeat, at least 11 or 12 content points. Why? Because it is as an insurance. Sometimes you think you have found all 10 content points. Well, but in reality, only, let's say, 8 are correct ones. So it is always best for you to find more than you need. So you need 10 for full marks for content points. So always find more as insurance. When writing your summary, you must remember two important things. The first one is each sentence must be a complete sentence. What is a complete sentence in English? The sentence must have subject and verb. If your sentence starts only with verb, then that sentence is incomplete and your content point is not awarded any mark. So you must always write complete sentence. And the second one you need to remember is to change pronouns if you are required to do so. But of course, not all pronouns need to be changed. When it is required to do so, then you need to change the pronouns. For example, in the text, it says, I lowered both cups in halfway. So, in the text, the author talk about himself. The writer talks about himself. So, he uses the pronoun I. However, in the summary, normally or sometimes the questions will change and ask what did the writer do. So you need to change, instead of I, you need to change it to the writer or he, depending on which gender the writer is. If the writer is a man, then he. If the writer is not a man, then it's she. If it's not mentioned whether the writer is a man or a woman, then you can use whichever gender you prefer. Okay, now let's see how you should write the summary. So we have the 10 words given, which we have written earlier. So remember the first content point that we found? Yes, we continue from the first 10 words given. So to get the cups breathing again, the writer decided to get a bucket of hot water. Okay, you see there, the full stop is written in the same box. Okay, please, I know you are writing in a box, so please do not leave out the commas and full stops. Okay, you must write them. Okay, let's see the next content point. The writer lowered both cups in halfway. So you see, earlier in the 10 words given, we are told to use the writer. So here we use the writer. We continue with the writer lowered both cups in halfway. The content point was, is lowered both cups in halfway, right? So to write a complete sentence, we must have a subject, and the subject is the writer. So let's see the next sentence. Decided to immerse them completely this time. Okay, what is wrong with this sentence? Anything wrong? Yes, it's so wrong because this is actually an incomplete sentence. Why is it incomplete sentence? Because there is no subject. Okay, this sentence does not have a subject. So this sentence is incomplete. So how do we change to make this sentence a complete sentence? Remember, if a sentence is incomplete, your content point mark is not awarded, meaning you do not get marked for incomplete sentences. So how do we change it? Remember the writer? So yes, we start with the writer. Or another word to use to replace another pronoun to replace the writer is he. Remember, the writer is 2 words. So we want to save words, as many words as we could. So instead of repeating the writer this, the writer that, right? So instead of 2 words, we only use 1 word, which is he. So he decided to immerse them completely this time. Okay, another way of writing it is like this. Okay, so instead of writing each content point as one new sentence, we can actually combine them. Like this one, the writer lowered both cups in halfway, then decided to immerse them completely this time. So, lowered both cups, decided to immerse them. So, both verbs share the same subject, which is the writer. This is acceptable. In fact, if you found two content points in the text, you found two content points from the text in the same sentence, you can copy them and write them as a sentence. It's not wrong. So how do we count words for summary? It's a bit tricky. Let's see. Okay, each word is counted as one. For example, reading, okay, that is one word. Reading text, that is two words. Reading text is easy, 4 words. Are you getting the hang of this? Okay, let's see. Okay, so I said earlier, each word is counted as one. This includes proper nouns. For example, Kuala Lumpur. Kuala Lumpur is considered as one word. Is it? No. That is in Bahasa Melayu. Okay, in Bahasa Melayu, Kuala Lumpur is one word. But in English, Kuala Lumpur is counted as two words. So Kuala is one word, Lumpur is another word. Okay, please do not confuse English summary writing with Bahasa Melayu pemahaman or Bahasa Melayu ringkasan. Okay, so in English, to count the words is very simple. So let's say it's Kuala Lumpur. Let's see another example. So Kuala Lumpur is two words. So Kuala Lumpur City Centre is 4 words. Okay. In BM, Kuala Lumpur City Centre is considered as one word. But in English, Kuala Lumpur City Centre is considered as 4 words. Another one is multiple words with dash in between them is also counted as one word. Let's see an example. Mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Okay, you see there? Mouth to mouth. So mouth to, if we count this like BM, mouth-to-mouth resuscitation is considered 4 words, but it's wrong. Mouth-to-mouth is considered as one word. So here actually mouth-to-mouth resuscitation is only considered as 2 words. So do we need to use sequence connectors when we write our summary? Sequence connectors are, for example, first, next, thus, therefore, finally, etc. Okay, sequence connectors basically in VM is penanda wacana. Okay, penanda wacana. But do we really need to use sequence connectors in summary? Sequence connectors can be used if the question talks about steps taken for an activity. For example, is SPM 2015 about steps taken how to make the cups breathing again. That one you can use sequence connectors. Or another one is sequence of events. When they mention about this happened and then the next thing happened and then after that something else happened, then yes, you can use sequence connectors. However, you should avoid using connectors if you do not know how to use it correctly. Some people use sequence connectors. They throw all the sequence connectors all over the place. But it's wrongly used. If that is the case, do not use sequence connectors. Another one is if it weighs your word counts. Remember earlier, the writer considered as 2 words. Instead of the writer, we change with he because we want to save word count, the words that we use. So it's the same here. Remember, this is summary. Okay, summary means ringkasan. We want to write as short as possible. Okay, this is not an essay where you are needed to write 180 or 350 words or more. This one, we are limited to write only 130 words. So, if the sequence connectors actually weighs your words, leave it behind. Because what's important for summary actually is complete sentences. As long as your sentences are complete sentences, then you will get marked for content point. Sometimes you want to make your language looks more beautiful, but I personally think it's a waste of time for summary. Why? Because language mark for summary is only 5 marks. If you write complete sentences, for all your sentences in summary, you will get minimum of 3 marks. 3 marks dalam tangan already. So, you don't waste time. Or rather, you don't waste your marks. Sometimes you try so hard just to get no extra mark for language, but you are losing marks for content point. That is not worth it. We are already at the end of writing your summary. After you finish writing your summary, at the end of your summary, do not forget to place a word count. Right? For example, if let's say your summary only uses 128 words, then please write 128 words at the bottom of your summary. Write anywhere, on the left hand side, in the middle, or on right hand side. It doesn't really matter as long as you write how many words you have written. However, please bear in mind, remember, right, first, do not exceed 130 words. Of course, you are allowed to write more than 130, but keep it at 135, not more than that. But if possible, stick to 130. Do not write more than that. Okay? Lesser is okay. However, if your words is let's say you only use 90 words, then there must be something wrong with your summary. If your word count is only 90 words, below 100, meaning you are missing some points, definitely. So please write at least 120 sounds good, or 115, 120, 125 sounds good. And last but not least is do not cheat. Please do not cheat. In some cases, some students, some students cheat when they write the word count. For example, they have written 160 words for summary, but towards the end, at the word count, they write there 131 words. Please do not cheat, because examiners will count the words. Yes, all examiners will count the words for summary. For essay, examiners will never count the words. But for summary, that's why summary is very tedious for examiners. Examiners don't really like summary part actually, because it's very tedious, very tiring, because examiners have to count the words one by one for every script. So please do not cheat. Whew, we are finally at the end of our video. Alright, I hope the tips that I have shared with you was beneficial and easy to follow. But again, you may understood from this video, but it's no use if you stop here. Remember, practice makes perfect. So after watching this video, go find some other exercises and write, and try to do more summary exercises. Practice makes perfect. So the more you try, you will get the hang of it. You will find that section C actually is not difficult at all, right? But of course, with practice. If you have only done one, which is this 2015 question, and you think, oh, I'm good already. No, you are not. Please practice more. You need it. So that's all, folks. I hope it has been beneficial, and I hope you have learned from it. Remember to subscribe to my channel, like this video, like my other videos, and share this video with your friends. Okay, so that's all. All the best for your SPM. Bye.